Sometimes I don't have the energy for all of the things that I do for thumbnails and all of that. I want to do this fast, sort of. Ultimately, I question the idea of timelines or quantum theory, in the idea that you can you can change any point. Like, it's like you have multiple parallel universes. I understand that it's very fun and it makes sense to science, but it doesn't make sense to me now because I am seeing the astrology that is applying to me without having any knowledge. I do not know about astrology at all. The moons, the planets, I don't know that shit at all. I got interested. So I would see a little bit and see what's going on, but I wouldn't always know it when it's happening. I mostly found it, some of it I found it before, but a lot of it was after. And I would do things as I'm processing through the CPTSD and letting go of bad beliefs, harmful beliefs of my life. It has shifted the things that I do with having no knowledge about what the fucking planet is doing anything. Things would just naturally change me without having the idea or plan based on what they're saying about the astrology, which I don't know about. I like it. It's cool. And a lot of people I've heard from people, a lot of people have said that, like, the planets that we have is more of like a predictive than anything that you're thinking about. All of those the timelines and all of that, to me, I think it all just fucking happens. I think you don't really have, based on what I'm experiencing and figuring shit out right now, is that they have this sense that in one timeline you don't do it this way, and this other you do a different thing, and it doesn't make sense to me based on cycles, because we already know that all of these cycles change. So they're so collective that would be entirely limitless. And it's entirely possible that this is true. There would be parallel universes, but it's more of a thought than it is an actual thing, because it would mean, physically, that wouldn't occur, because we already know there is a planet that we live in. And if you know that there's only the Earth, the planets, anything that you theorize is based on ideas rather than the flesh and bone, the way things are now. And since I know that I believe in reincarnation, there's all these iterations and all of that, I feel like the timeline that you think, oh, I have this choice and do all of those things, I'm like, but that really more applies to all of the lives I've had. That the way I want this life for this type with this body, I had these understanding from the cosmos to the planet, that I have all of these understanding about the way things will be, and probably exactly how I will behave and experience. Feels like I knew before starting my life was to know that there would be this, that, all of that. And ultimately, it is, you have your free will, but it's almost like your soul knew this before getting to this one. It's not that, it's not even that you, feels like everything is in order to feel it all. The reason why we have all these lives is to know how this type feels this way and all that. Go get that fly. Get him. Ultimately, and this is just me learning all of this shit. It's not even a year that I've started doing all the woo-woo stuff. And I'm just like realizing all of this stuff and like, I would say the theories that I'm thinking about as, oh, this life will change this way. But I have all these past lives. And the way that we're thinking about, I would do this in that one. It really more apply to which life I'm thinking about, which past life that I've had. This life, I know that I had to know about having all of this absolute bullshit until I understood that, oh, I guess I would figure out how to have the option to be a witch, and which guide I was going to have, and the way things are going to be. It almost feels like you have free will. At any point, you can say, I actually don't want to heal. But I'm sure that probably in all of my iterations before this, or a lot of them, were that I never healed. And so in this one, I'm getting the option to have a similar baseline of absolute trauma and then just heal from all of that, which I may not have had in all of the others. So I just feel like, I don't know how you would, the way I'm seeing from the astrology is like the planets and the tides of the way things are from the planet. It's almost like it is what it is. The way you're born, it decides where all of these behaviors and experiences, and like everything is almost loggable, that they know what's what. And so I would take the idea of, oh, this life would have been, if I think that I would change it differently in this current time, this iteration, I assume the thing that I'm fantasizing or thinking about, the differences, the parallel universes, I feel it more is a parallel lives from all of the iterations you've had, or for what I've had, that I tried it then. And I experienced then. And then I have this one, and this one, and this one. And I don't know if that is applicable to all of y'all. And also, it doesn't matter, because it's so, the point of all of the iterations, or one single life, if that were true, everything is really about you trying to have your exact, like, figuring out your life and enjoying the way you want to be. So if you would feel happier, that's how I feel about religion, that's how I feel about your beliefs. If it literally makes you happy and enjoy your existence, I will always be for that. That's always going to be great. There's nothing I can say, as long as it doesn't harm other people. The beliefs that help you be your best self is a great thing. And so if you think, oh, I want to have this illusion of free will stronger than you would if you believe in iterations, then that's great. If that helps you be your best self or make you enjoy the best you think you can handle, then that's awesome. And that's still a cool thing to do. I just realized for me that it doesn't really make sense to me cyclically based on cycles, that it doesn't really make sense to me but that could just be because I know all about the patterns, and all I know about is pattern recognition. So to me, it doesn't make sense. I think it's fun to fantasize that and theorize all of that, because I love a lot of theories. I literally put a tag for uneducated theorist, because that's how I like to do things. Just doesn't make sense to me from the way things are. And I still don't even know if I will know. I don't know if I'll study about astrology. Because also, I just, a lot of thing about signs is that I'm getting a bunch of crystals that I've lived here for almost 3 years, and I've only noticed these rocks have been crystals this whole time. I thought it was gravel. I didn't look close enough. There's certain areas of my front driveway and all that is like mostly gravel, and I would be like, oh, and I didn't notice they also had crystals, and I didn't notice there's also much crystals from the beach, and there's all of these other rocks and all of these options for all this shit. There's so much. And it was always, they would have always been there this whole time until I realized to look for these things. It's always been there, but I only noticed, oh, I actually care about crystals now. Now I give a shit about that. And I feel like that's the same for basically everything from this planet. That's like, whoa, I didn't even notice about this. Wow, I get to see all of these dragonflies because I started gardening. I see butterflies, which I really need milkweeds for, that I don't know how to get that set up yet. I don't have milkweeds. I have plenty of weeds in my yard, but it has nothing milkweed, and I can't do anything for the monarchs. And anyway, all of these signs for all of these things, they were always there. They just didn't make sense to me until I knew what to look for. And that's how I feel about the astrology, that basically I will not know what I'm expecting to see because I don't know the signs. But I will feel it in my body, and it will kind of change the way things are because of the way my path was probably totally designed from my soul before I did this. And I also have this sense of time where we have our time in our planet, in our life, that it's very, time is very measured in the world we live in. And it doesn't apply to the same areas of space. Time is almost, it's very subjective to where you're thinking about. And so I get the sense, based on the shit that I'm looking into things, is that our time here is drastically different than the one you get for the cosmos, which would be like if you saw Interstellar. I don't even know if that math is good, but I know the sense of the themes of time and the change of that is very, very true and applicable to space, which would mean that if we know our soul goes somewhere, this implies that there is a place in space or dimension or whatever it may be, has a whole other timeline. It has more measure of time than we do now, which would also make sense that your soul from that place would understand to see all of it in your little life here on Earth. And you could see the entire thing of your life. It might be able to see the entire time of the entire planet. Like the planets nearby really control the way things flow more than you realize. But the point of it is to feel all of those things and do it as your own. Feel it and control the way you think you do about your body. But the rest of it, you have no control of the planet, the space, time. You can't control shit. And so, and that's also your higher self, your higher being, or a higher God, has a very well knowledge about what they fully understand what you are, because they have this sense of time that they can see all of you. You're not even I don't know that you're referring to as your past, your higher self is probably just your soul, and it exists from a different time plane than we do here, and they can read all of your everything. And so it's more of like it's more of the wisdom of all of your lives, and this includes this life and the one that's coming up next, or the one after that, and the one before, and it's all of the sense of everything. So it's more of like, so which means it's not even the higher self tells you how to be ultimate, the best person you can be. It just means this iteration. And then it changes if they're referring to another iteration. If you know about asking for your higher self, parts of my iterations would be didn't even know about that. Didn't know at all. So, yeah, it feels like you have, to me, it feels like there is more of a destiny based on what your soul desires and wants and how to experience and all of that. And it feels like you don't really have, I don't know how much control I have except for the reaction that I have. And that includes, even then, I feel like the reactions and the way things go is kind of based on your entire environment, which is included from the astrology, the way you were born, all of that type of stuff. It's like my soul chose to have this one, this birth, this, that, all of this stuff, to learn all of this experience in a specific way amongst the other past lives, which feels more that since I know I'm having multiple lives, past lives and all of that, which I don't know about them very well, is to experience those, and that is how I would find for each iteration as the butterfly effect. And also, I don't know about the idea of souls, because when we have souls on everything, plants, no, that makes sense. If the soul has an entirely different timeline, I could have souls going on at the same time, but that doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't make sense, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how to, I don't know about astrology, but I pretty much know that's how it's, guides me to the way I'm supposed to experience and all that. Best I can do is appreciate the fucking existence I have. And that's the best way to have it. It almost feels like I barely have any choice in all of these things, because we live, we die, we shit, we eat. And if everything is how it's supposed to be, or you have to learn all of these skills and you have to do all of this stuff, feels like it's going to happen anyway, and you might as well experience and appreciate the great parts about it. And the only way to appreciate the best is to also know bullshit, have a shitty trauma, whatever it is. Helps you to experience the best appreciation to know from the absolute horrors of existing as a human amongst others. So, and that pretty much applies to plants and animals, and they all have the same idea of appreciating things while knowing bullshit. It's just a different the way they do it. Animals, plants versus humans and all of that. Anyway. Yeah. That's about that. For the time being. And then I'm thinking about, yeah. So I guess sometimes I just get to these type of thoughts. I don't even know if I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm figuring shit out. Or maybe I'm just floating. I'm floating a little bit. It'll make sense when it makes sense. Or maybe I won't change my mind. Maybe it will make sense if I know more about, I don't know. So, that's just where I'm at. I still meditate. I stretch. I walk. I garden. I still feel witchy. More feels like which part of the witchy experience is more like you appreciate your place in the earth and understanding about the cosmos, the magic of earth, you know. I still see spirits when I'm meditating. If I'm less stressed, as in I breathe a little bit better and release more stress. But not always. Yeah, I got nothing else to say for the time being. I just think this one is not really communistic. Usually I get to something communist. But I don't know if they can shadow ban this one. But in case they do, please subscribe. And put on some notifications in case you align with the shit that I say. It's not worth it to waste your time if you don't even give a shit about it. It's not always you have to be subscribed for a certain creator. Everything phases. I used to like horror, true crime or horror stories or whatever. And I had a lot of subscriptions for that. And I didn't even want to keep doing that forever. I was like, I don't do that anymore. Because I feel very optimistic and very hopeful that I just don't care for that anymore. It's like, sounds like something they used to do. People do that. So, yeah. Thanks for listening or figuring your stuff out. I don't know. See you later.